This is a Onenie original podcast.
Do she have the booty?
Does she have the booty? She do. 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 As in money.
Welcome to the She Do podcast. I'm Bria.
And I'm Natalie.
And this podcast is about women, by women, and for women.
We talk to fabulous ladies about how they get the booty, as in money, as in rolling in the Benjamins, as in the nuggets, as in making treasure, as in all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so today on this episode of She Do, this episode we have Grace Liang of Color and Grace, and we are so excited to have you.
Woo! Welcome.
Thank you. So, I took a look at your website, and it is adorable.
Thank you.
I stalked your Instagram. It's even more adorable. So tell me, how did you get into, how did Color and Grace come about?
Okay, when I was growing up, I had any sense about fashion. I call myself as a ugly duckling at that time because I was born in a really poor area and poor family. So when you have to survive, you have to think about if you have food, you seriously know money about fashion, just like far down on the list. Yeah. So all the clothes I had was my older brother's hand-me-down. So I had no sense about fashion at all. And I remember when I was maybe 13 years old, my mom took me to a local tailor store. I think probably that year our family did a little better, so we had a little time. I can get some new clothes, which is very, very exciting. So when we were there, and the tailor asked me, said, "So what kind of dress do you like?" I was like, I have no clue. I don't know. So he handed me a magazine with all those beautiful models on it, wear different dresses. I was like, oh my gosh, I never even know there's that type of world exists there. So I think that was the moment I start to realize I love fashion. Somehow it just speaks to me, although I have nothing. I don't have any knowledge, experience, nothing about it. And then during my high school years, I really want to become a fashion designer. So I got accepted by a fashion college, design college in Beijing, but I had to pay tuition. At the same time, I got accepted by a teaching college, which is everything covered. So for a kid from a poor family, the choice pretty obvious. I went to become a teacher. And then after graduate, became a teacher. And then later I feel like, I just feel like my life doesn't really just belong to that small city. I want to go to big city. Like all the young kids here, they want to go to Chicago, New York. The same thing too. I just run away and went to Shanghai. And then start over again. No money, no friends, no job, no family, nothing. I just went there. And so first couple years, of course, I have to survive again. And after finally several years survival periods done, and then I did pretty good with my career. I became a HR manager in a really, really big company. After that, I quit because I thought, if I can run more than 100 people, a place, probably I can run my own business as well. So I quit and start my own business. I didn't went very well. So
What kind of business was it?
It's a investment company.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it with my best friend together. We both are really good at HR, but we don't really know much about sales. Probably that's a problem. So we ended. I'm like, you know what? Now I'm almost like 30 years old. I want to do something with my dream. So I opened my online boutique. At that time, eBay just came to Chinese market. Yeah, so I opened. I was the earliest eBay store owner.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started to sell things online and just kind of started again. And then again, I met my late husband in Shanghai. And then after 3 years, I moved to America. And again, life started over again. I had to learn English, learn driving, learn everything. And he got laid off. So we were just kind of go back to the survival mode again. So I decided I need to went back to school to get a teaching certificate so I can support my family.
Right.
That's what I did. And until the year I turned 40, I was like, I'm 40. If I don't do anything with my dream, probably my dream totally dead. And you know, sometimes that dream is really strong. That's a passion. It just not die. Doesn't matter how many years you push away. They're just burning there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, I need to give it a try. But I don't really know what to do because I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to sew. It's pretty difficult to become a fashion designer. And at the time, I read a lot of articles about fashion bloggers. When I look at them, I'm like, you know, I think I can do the same thing too. So that's how they started.
That's amazing.
I love
So
that
what year did you
story.
start your blog then?
2014,
Okay.
December 7th. Which
you know
this
the
year,
date.
yeah, we just
Yeah.
celebrate 4 years anniversary.
Oh,
Oh,
congratulations.
that's
Thank
so
you, thank you.
amazing.
Oh yeah.
So I noticed that you have a common theme of like resilience in your story. You keep having to, like as a child, you had to, you know, you grew up in that area that wasn't that great. And then you moved to Shanghai, started all over, you know, got into starting your own business, starting over. You started over with starting in your online boutique and your website. Like, what are the core things that like keep you going forward, especially in different places? Like,
Yeah.
like
question,
coming here, like, you know, you had to learn to drive, learn English, find employment. So what are the core things that like keep you going?
You know, before I always joke around and say I'm the master of survival because I was often put into this situation as I have to survive.
Yeah.
People would say, you are so strong, you are so brave. I always tell them, I say, no, everybody has it. If you're in that situation, you probably make the same decision too because you want to survive.
Exactly.
But now I think after I survived, I think deep down, the really thing keep me going is the love for life. Just simply, I really appreciate I'm still alive. You know, every breath I'm taking, it's not easy. Some people don't have the chance to do it. Like today's sunny day, when I'm driving on the freeway, I'm happy. Although traffic's bad, but I'm happy. It's a sunny day. So it's all about the little things in life. Make me feel like it's worth it.
I
That's
love
so true.
that.
Yeah.
That's so adorable.
All about the little things. Instead of getting mad at traffic, just think about how sunny and beautiful it is.
Oh, yeah.
And another thing that in your story that kind of resonated with me, I just recently read a book called The Dream Giver. I can't remember who it's by, but in the beginning of the book, there's like a story of this person called Nobody lived in somewhere, and Nobody's mission, like in the place that he lived at, it was like, well, he or she, I don't know what it was, but where they stayed at, everybody did the same thing. They would go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, and do it all over again. But one thing that you said that stuck out to me was that your dream would not leave you alone. Like, so what are some things that like happened that made you feel like you were compelled to go after, you know, even though at the time you probably didn't know that it was a blog, but you knew it had something to do with fashion.
Yeah.
What is it that kept you, like, pushed you to go that way?
I think now when I look back, it's the beginning of me awakening from the self-love, I would say. I believe I'm worth it. I believe I'm not a accident to come to this world.
Right.
I believe everybody has a purpose. We have to just recognize it, how to find it. I think that's my purpose, to share my story through a more fashionable platform. For me, fashion is not my final goal at all.
Okay.
I love fashion, but fashion is meaningless without story behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so because, you know, that is human nature. Everybody likes well-dressed, pretty people. Everybody like it. They just automatically give them credit, feel like they know better. That's not entirely true, but just human nature.
Right.
And because I have this fashion blog, fashion platform, people tend to kind of trust me or listen to me a little more. So I take this as really big responsibility is what I really want to share with this world. What kind of positive impact I can make.
Right.
I am, how to say, I am kind of fighting with the big trend on Instagram because more and more young people really treat it as a place to show off their stuff, materials. For me, that's not how you use it. You have to really have the responsibility about being an influencer. I mean, everybody is an influencer.
That's true.
Everybody is just the level a little different, like how many people you influence and how deep you influence. So for me, I just feel like every words I say, everything I post, I have to ask myself, what kind of signal I want to send to the world? How I want people to feel about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a teacher because I feel like, no, I'm not like super, super good with many, many things. I'm still struggle with my own life a lot of times. But I don't mind to share my story because other people may find comfort or may have that aha moment when they read my story.
Right.
Yeah, so that's my purpose.
I love that. So you have such a huge following on Twitter. What's your following right now? It's like
Not Twitter, on Instagram.
on Instagram. Sorry, not Twitter.
Yeah,
Instagram. It's Instagram. Yes.
130,000.
Wow, that's pretty. How did that happen? I think out of everyone I've ever talked to, I think you have probably up there with the most people. How did you get from 0 to that number?
Yeah, at beginning was always very difficult because it's like even like the blog at beginning, nobody read it. Like first time when you finally saw somebody comment on, you were so excited and look at it, oh, it's your coworker. Really not. They're just trying to help you out. It's beginning is hard, but it's a learning curve after you really understand who you are and what your follower like to see. But again, that's a balance. I never just write or post things for my followers. I want to be true to myself.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Because see, I am influencer, but I don't try to get influenced by other people. That sounds very weird. That means I don't really look at other people's Instagram. I don't.
Oh, you don't look at other people's Instagrams. Oh,
No,
that's
I
interesting.
don't. I don't really read much about trend, or I don't really listen a lot about news. Just because, I mean, the first year when I came to this country, I realized news in America is kind of depressing.
Oh,
So
you're
I
not
just
wrong
I
there,
cut off
Mike.
my news. I don't do news anymore.
That is the biggest form of self-care that you could possibly do for yourself.
I think so.
Seriously.
I think so. Anyway, go back to the question is, grow that huge following is not just like one day or one event. It's many, many different events happen together. Like first, I noticed a big jump is after I worked with several kind of pretty famous designers like Steve Madden. Like I work with Stacy London. Yeah, I kind of think those bring a lot of followers. And also another thing is after I totally opened up to share my experience with my late husband. After he diagnosed with cancer, we kept it quiet for quite well. And finally, we both decided it's a time to share not because we want the world to give us pity, it's because we want to show the world we have different way we can deal with it. We still can laugh about it. We still can enjoy every minute we can. So that was the purpose we started. And soon after that, I noticed my following going up a lot.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
because I think right now a lot of people ask me, say, hey, how can I grow my Instagram following? I always tell them, I say, be yourself. It sounds very, very easy, but it's not really that easy. That means you have to open up.
Yeah.
You have to be vulnerable. Whatever, you have to put yourself there and don't mind people judge you.
Right.
But the thing is, so far I'm very, very lucky. Really, nobody judge me at all. They all just feel like, very touching. They feel like the story kind of relate to them. So for that part, I would say I'm really, really lucky.
So I just took a look through your Instagram and I see that you share a lot of things like with your following. So what process, like how did you know what to open up about and what to share? Because I feel like with social media, a lot of people is always this weird teeter-totter of
There's a
either
balance,
oversharing
yeah.
or not sharing enough because you
Yeah.
don't want to put your business out there. You don't want people like judging you. So how did you figure out what was worth sharing with everyone? Because I know that you say be yourself, but you know there are parts of everybody that's really not so cute.
I think everyone is always afraid of something to come back
Yeah,
and bite him in the ass later, you know?
Right. So
Yeah.
there are parts that are not, you know, great. So what did you do to pick and choose what you wanted to share?
I think for me is again it take a long time to figure out. Okay, but at this point I realize is internet or online relationship is the same as in the real life. So I cannot like think about, I don't think about 130,000 people. I think about one person there. I think about that person is my friend. I think about that person love to hear what I'm going to say. They don't mind to hear my struggle. But again, I don't just share struggle. I also gave solutions.
Yeah.
All the things I share is this is already finished. Okay, already passed. Like, okay, I've been through this struggle and this is how I overcome. This is how I turn my life around. Because again, I don't want to add more complaint to the world. We got enough, you know. I just want to share with what I've been through and how I deal with how's the best result I can do. How can I become the best of myself? So I mean, again, my position when I share, I never think I'm a teacher. I think maybe that's a good way because I don't want to teach people. I don't think that's the right position to start. I treat that person as my friend. I just simply, calmly to tell my story. And that's it. And again, I don't just share the story like nothing important. For example, I work with a lot of sponsors. You know, when I work with sponsors, I'm pretty picky to how to pick what I love, I trust, and can align with my image and my lifestyle.
Right.
And when I talk about some product or service, I don't just talk about product or service. I will talk about how they helped my life or how this maybe give a lot of people, you know, make their life a little better, easier. So I always want to go back to human nature. You know, not just the product or service or material.
That's super. I always find that super interesting. I think even here at Onenie, you know, we do a lot of branded content here as well. And you know, out in the universe, that's kind of how you take free. Nothing is free, even if the viewers are seeing it for free online and like consuming it for free without having to pay for a subscription or anything like that. Everyone wonders like, how do you make money off that sort of thing? So. How do you, again, another question of authenticity, and how are you able to achieve the balance between a product that you actually really like and really enjoy and really use and would use despite whether or not they were paying you to use it, and or just, you know, and being afraid to look like, you know, a walking advertisement that it's not real?
Yeah, I always tell people, I said, I will never be the salesperson. If you go on my Instagram, you don't see me do that. Like you take a screenshot and you shop my clothes, whatever. I don't do that. Sometimes I do, but really not that often at all. And now I'm totally stopped at this moment. I just feel like, you know, money is important, but it's not that important. So I tell so many people, I say, if you want to become full-time influencer, I want you to work with you or have a full-time job, this as your second gig first. Which is that's what I did the first 3 years. Why? Because you have a steady income. You can pay your bills, so you can hold up your dignity. You don't have to say yes to some brand you don't really like, but you have to because you need money to pay whatever your bills.
Right.
So that's why I say, you know, you have to have a balance. You can't just say, this is my dream. I don't care. I'm going to quit my job and do it right now. You have to be a little reasonable. You still can do it. You may still have a full-time job, but you still do this one as a full-time job too. Like I did last 4 years, I would say. I have a full-time teaching job and I have this full-time blogging job. So what does that mean? Totally no TV for many years for me, okay? I don't watch TV. No weekends, no evenings. So that means every time other than sleeping, I am working either on my teaching or on my blogging. That's how you make it. A lot of time people say, oh, it just takes so long, I couldn't make it. I'm like, anything you want to make it, you have to take at least 3 years. So now I see is a lot of people have very little patience. They see it, they want it right now. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, everyone wants to have their, millions of followers.
Yeah.
And they get grumpy and give up after they reach, 100, and it's just like, how do you got to get
Yeah,
more, you have
I've
to
seen
keep going.
so many big bloggers when they just enter the blogging world. I see so many bigger bloggers, a lot are gone, period, because they couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, like I feel like with social media now, there's like, especially for influencers, there's this instant gratification. Like they want to work with the bigger brands. Like when they first start, they want to attract the
If they don't have
the
Gucci right now,
followers.
then they never want. Yeah.
They want to attract a certain type of followers without even acknowledging the ones that really are there because they like their content. So my thing is, how do you, as far as like working with sponsors, I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and they basically said, like, you build your brand off of the no's, off of saying no to certain people, because you can't say yes to everybody.
No.
So how do you pick and choose what, besides liking the product as well, like how else do you pick the sponsors that you want to work with? Do you consider your following? Do you consider your brand as a whole? Like what factors do you consider in working with sponsors?
I think that's overall many different factors.
Okay.
Most of sponsors I've been working with, they're really, really professional and nice. Again, it doesn't matter business or online relationship, just like real life relationship.
Yeah.
Some brands is very easy to work together. Some brands very, very difficult. If they're really, really, really difficult, probably no next time.
Yeah.
That's definitely just no. And of course, always I will do some background research. Like if some brand I never heard of before, I will do a lots of review to see if they're good quality, good service, if they're aligned with my lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, for example, if some brand for me said, I have a wig, can you do a wig? Definitely I'm not, because I don't need it, I don't use it.
Right.
Just that type of thing. Doesn't matter how much you pay me, it doesn't really align with my lifestyle. My bottom line is I don't want to lie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have this thing is, if I'm lying, I can't even sleep. Just feel bad about it. And again, money is important, but it's not that important to lose sleep over it.
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't worth it. And again, there are so many brands there you can work with. Why don't you pick some good one? And here's what I learned. You have to pick your customers, or for me, it's my brand. If not good, I just say no. Because life is already stressful enough. Why we have
It
to,
is.
why we have to pick somebody difficult one to work with?
Right.
For our listeners out there who might not be 100% familiar with your brand, how would you sum up your brand and like how you sort of found that was the one you were going to keep? And because I know for me personally, I've been trying to like start like blogs and my who am I and like in my image for different platforms and social media and all that stuff, and it's so hard to just kind of pick one. Like how do you zone in on what you want to focus on?
Again, this is a whole process. Don't forget, right now I'm in 4 years mark. So that's why I'm pretty clear with everything I'm talking about. If you ask me the first 3 months, I have no clue. I only know my name because actually my late husband picked this name for me. My name is Grace. I love colors. I love a lot of bold colors. My specialty was mixing the bold colors together at the time. So we decided, probably have some specialty to offer is with all the color things. So that's how we started, called Color and Grace. And at the beginning, of course, I just write. I don't know what to write. I just kind of like write like diary, I guess, like that time. And I'm just really doesn't offer any very important information. But along the way, you see people have a comments, feedback, you slowly change. And even the content, you change it too. I mean, at the beginning, I positioned myself as a over 40s petite fashion blogger.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. Because so much of Instagram, like you said earlier, it's so many young people out there. And I think that like a lot of people I know, that a lot of my friends that are not like teenagers, that are they're afraid to use Instagram because there's so many just young people just kind of stomping all over everyone else on there, and that's such a interesting, you know, niche to dig out for yourself, and that doesn't really
I don't really mind talking about my age, just because I just feel like, you know, every age has their own strength. For my age, I think the best part is I know who I am. I know what I'm capable to do. I know what is my weakness, and I try to avoid it. So that's the part first I positioned, and then along the way realized fashion and beauty kind of like you know, like sisters, best friends. You talk about fashion, you always talk about beauty. I'm not really good at that. I'm still not good at beauty. I'm a skincare junkie. I love skincare. So I started to talk about that more.
Well, your skin is gorgeous. I will say that. Even though this isn't a visual podcast, Grace is a glowing.
Yeah, I was looking at your skin.
girl.
When you said 40, I'm like, 40 where? Like, you look amazing.
I would turn 45 soon.
You look good, girl.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's one other part I talk a lot on my blog and Instagram, to share what I do to look a little younger. So anyway, so from fashion to beauty. And then I love travel. So I started to talk about travel. And then I do wellness because that's part of my lifestyle. I've been going to gym regularly, build that gym life into my lifestyle about 1.5 years. So that's become another thing to talk about. And then I love cooking. I love food. I'm a foodie. So I talk about food sometime on it. And last couple years, I really talk about is self-empowerment. So because I lost my late husband, that become my blog, I would say, is one of the things saved me. You know, for a lot of people lost their loved ones, a lot of people just shut down.
Yeah.
They feel like, you know, life is just so unfair. I got enough of this. I'm done. Okay. But for me, again, that basic love for the small things saved me. I just feel like, you know, it doesn't matter what happened to me, I'm still alive. And that's the biggest gift I can have. Yeah. So I just decided, I mean, now it's easy to say, but when he just passed away, I had no clue how can I live by myself, because he was my best friend. We were soulmates, literally.
It's like an extension of yourself, I think, for a lot of people. It's just when someone like that goes, it's just kind of like, well, you know, that's like, you know, might as well get your arm chopped off sometimes.
Yes, feel like that. But what I felt is half of me got chopped off, but he left half of him for me. And still a whole me, just in a different way.
Oh, wow.
That's how I take it, because I do see so much influence from him. All he wanted was me to be happy. Even right before he passed away, he told me, he said, I want you to be happy because you're so capable. He was the one to tell me, do not quit on your fashion dreams. So it's a lot of things. The first year, everything I did was for him. Because I want to honor the love of his, I have to force myself to eat, to sleep, to do whatever I need to do to keep it going.
Right.
But during that process, I realized it's not just for him. It's just for, I'm still having the chance to live.
Right.
And that made a huge shift, a huge change. I realized, you know, my purpose is to sell my story, because there are so many people there shut down, hate their life, feel like nothing to live for. But if you really change the point of view, your whole life are going to be so much happier.
Right.
So yeah, after that point, I start to feel like I opened the door called self-empowerment. I learned so many things from like Tony Robbins, like Jack Canfield, all those motivational speakers. I even become more spiritual. Before I still don't have any religion yet, but I don't mind later I will have one. I'm in the kind of like researching which one would be the best for me. Because after you lost someone, you have so many questions like, why this happened to me? Did I do anything wrong? Am I going to see him again? How is he doing? You have so many questions there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like because that I went on a soul searching journey. Even now, I feel like majority of the work I have done, but I'm still kind of in that process, like funding myself. I call it, this is, right now, I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't feel like this is a disaster. I treat it as a opportunity. It's opportunity for me to rediscover who I am.
Absolutely.
Without attaching to anyone, without being someone's wife, someone's stepmother, someone's whatever, just being me.
Right.
Yeah.
What I always think is super interesting too is that there's no ending point. You know, I have so many of my friends that are I'm in my late 20s now, and a lot of my friends are just like now hitting 30, and for so many of them, hitting 30 is like the worst thing ever because I'm not married, I don't have a boyfriend that looks like I could marry him, my job is kind of like meh, I don't own a house, I don't own blah blah blah, all these things, and like they're like, I can't be here at 30 because at 30 I'm supposed to have XYZ, and it's difficult because I feel like everyone for some reason thinks that 30 is sort of like the end. It's the end.
Yeah.
And it just seems like everyone thinks that by the time you're 40, by the time you're 50, by the time you're 60, that you're supposed to be hitting these certain marks of success in your life. And it sounds like it's not a linear thing, and it's not like there's not an ending point. It's, at 40 you're still learning, you're still developing yourself, your person, your brand. I think that's pretty amazing.
I call myself a late bloomer.
And it's funny because you're not even. I don't even think you are. I think that you're right on time. I think everyone's right on time.
I
Yeah.
feel like everything, like the way you're describing your story, so many things have happened for you to get to this point.
Yes.
And even though like those things may not be considered as great, but it all happened together for a common good. And it's like you're finally like doing what you've been aspiring to do since you were younger, even though it may not be, I don't know exactly if you wanted to make clothes, but you're in the building, like, and I think that's amazing. And after looking at your website, we have something in common.
Okay. What is
Vision
that?
boards.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I love
is
vision
it?
boards.
Me too.
The heck is a vision board?
Uh-oh.
Vision board is when you get a board, a blank canvas, and you go through like magazines, you find pictures, you find like words or anything that you want your life to look like, and you usually use it as visualization.
So it's like Pinterest.
A Pinterest in real life, So you take those things and, like, say for example, I know one year I put a sticker of Wayne State on my vision board, and I got accepted. So
So if I put a really cute guy and $1 million on my vision board, I'm gonna get it.
it might happen. You gotta believe.
Oh, yes, totally. You have
gotta
to believe.
You have to believe. And also, I feel like with vision boards, you never know. Like, you could put something on there and you don't know when it's gonna happen. So you just have to really kind of be open to, open to what you really want. And it may not be like, say for example, like I put a car on mine before, and I thought I wanted a Jeep Commander, and instead I got the Jeep that I have now, and I was perfectly fine with that. So it all depends on, like, you just really have to be open and focused on it at the same time without expecting any specific thing or a specific time that it'll happen. So
Yeah, a lot of people say, okay, so what you just said is how you build a vision board, but how they work is this way. You ideally, first you want to find your life purpose. Okay, if you know your life purpose, that's your end goal. Okay, everything you do, you should organize around your life purpose. Anything doesn't do anything with your life purpose, you shouldn't even work on it. You shouldn't even spend time on it. That's period. So that's the bottom line. When you have that, you want to have the wildest dream you can about what you can see you live with. Like you just said, I want a cute guy with $1 million. Yes, that's good. Then put there. Vision board serve as a maybe 5 year, 10 year, maybe 20 years goal there.
Okay, I see.
Okay, that one just reminds you this is what I work towards to. But again, your vision board should serve with your life purpose. And again, a lot of people have a problem with their happiness is they have enough money, they're very successful, but they're not happy.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, why? Because they're not working with their life purpose.
So like if your life's purpose is make a lot of money, then I guess
Then you're
so,
happy.
But yeah, then I
Maybe.
guess you're happy.
Yeah,
but
but
if your life's purpose is something totally different and you just happen to be making a lot of money and that doesn't still hit your life's purpose, then
Yeah, but based
Yeah,
on
that
human
makes
nature,
sense.
making money is always on the surface.
Yeah.
I was the first thing people think about, I want $1 million. Almost
Right.
everybody would say the same thing. But on the bottom of what you really want, probably is love.
yeah.
And a lot of people don't get it. Okay, and doesn't matter how much money they have, if they don't get the love, they're still miserable. You see a lot of rich people, they're just like mean and they're just very sad and miserable. That's why. So what is life purpose is the greatest joy you can do in your life. If you feel that joy, that means you work towards to your life purpose. Life purpose shouldn't be a torture.
Yeah.
Okay, something you like it.
Your life
Again,
purpose
now,
should bring you joy and
yes,
love. I
yes.
love
Now
it.
you have that vision board. The vision board tell you something, work towards to your life purpose, and then you break down your vision board to your 3 year, 5 year big plan. You don't have to do very, very detailed, just very broad. Like in 3 years, I'm going to graduate from whatever. Okay, in 5 years, I'm going to start my company, whatever. Just a couple lines there. And most important is you need to break down to 1 year plan around every side of your life, like education, finance, wellness, relationship, everything you can think about. You need to have a certain goal and plan. But that is not done yet. How can you transfer the things from vision board to your real life? Is you have to break down everything on your 1 year plan to your daily schedule.
Oh yeah.
Okay, if you don't break down to your daily schedule, the vision board, like I talk about, it's just a dream piece. They're not going to become your dream life. Okay, so break down to daily schedule, very important. For example, like I talk about this year, one of my goal is to every month read one book. So what I did is at the beginning I pick out 12 books, and I already decided which month read what book. I already went through all the book, how many pages, and I decided how many pages and I need to read each day. I put on my schedule daily, 7 p.m. I'm going to start to read how many pages for that book. Do you see? That's how you make it happen. Without that final step, the vision board, it's just a piece of dream.
Just a piece of paper with pretty
so-
pictures on it.
Yeah.
Like you really have to be like with vision boards, you really, for them to come true, you really have to be like intentional about,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
about
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah.
So like, say for example, if you put like, oh yeah, like you said, like, okay, I want $1 million. Cool. But if you don't have anything to do to
back
try to
that
get
up.
towards it,
Yeah.
or even or if you don't know, like if you have like a small idea, like, okay, well, I know I want to do this, but I don't know how I'm going to make $1 million off of
Yeah.
it. Like you just really have to be intentional on your plan to get to that $1 million.
It sounds like instead of like putting I want $1 million on my board, it says, okay, I want to I want to partner with 3 brands this year. And these are the 3 brands that I would like to partner with by the, in the back of your mind saying, I'm going to make $1 million. Like that way.
Yeah, it's sort of, again, at the beginning, it's always like this. They said, do not limit your dream because you don't know how to get there. The most important is, where is there? Okay, you set your goal there. Doesn't matter how far, whatever, you put image there. At this moment, you may not know how to get there.
Right.
But remember, you break them down.
You have such discipline. How did you like develop such discipline? Because we were talking about the book a minute ago, and you said I break it down even to the smallest detail of I want to get to page 30 by tonight, even if that means staying up through the night to finish it. So how do you develop such discipline? Because I feel like I have zero discipline at all. I've been reading the same book since October.
Probably felt the same thing when I was young, but my life was, I went through so much struggle because, again, I got zero help from my family. I know since I was little, no one I can depend on. And later, even when I went to Shanghai, I tried to make a living. I think that was the time I started to realize I have to change myself. I have to train myself. It's a lot of time. Think about this. Your thoughts are powerful. Okay, what you believe, what you think you can do, and you can do it. So I think that was the moment I started to realize, although I came from a very, very poor family, my mom and dad never went to school. They were just farmers. My whole family, I was the only college student. So even like that, I just feel like, I'm not going to use that to judge myself because this is the best I can do. I'm going to push myself very, very far. I mean, no human can do no limit, okay? But everybody's limit is different.
Yep.
Like somebody's limit is 5 steps. My limit may be 100 steps. And for the 5-step person, they think I have no limit because 100 steps is very far for them to see.
Oh.
Okay. So for me, what I'm doing is I keep pushing. I keep telling myself, I think I can do it. Let's give it a try. Again, if you don't try, you never know.
That's a great way to think about it. Yeah, like your 100 steps is bigger than their 50 steps and they can't even see it. That's really an interesting way to look at that for sure.
Yeah,
I really like the way that sounds.
Last night I read something. I was like, oh my God, this is so true. They say, what's stopping you to chasing your dream is not unknown. Most people say, I don't know, so I'm scared. It's not true. What stops you is the things you know, but it's not true. For example, you think, oh, nobody can do that. That's not true.
I like that. And it's another thing that I read before. It said, like how you said about the 5 steps to 100 steps. I read something and it basically said like a chicken doesn't have the same perception as an eagle. So, a chicken is down here. You can only see what's around you, and the eagle is aerial. So it can look around and like, oh, I see a little worm, and go down. So it's just, it's just different. And I have one more question I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
I always wanted to ask a fashion blogger this. So what do you think the difference is between style and fashion?
Okay, style is timeless. Fashion is not.
So fashion is fashion is more so like trend. What's the newest?
Fashion is more like trend or everybody else doing it.
Okay.
Style is your own thing.
Style is one of a kind.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people always confuse the two. And I just feel like you see people that could have like labels on and you're just like, it looks so cheap because you're doing it. You don't know how to do it. But like someone with style, you could have on a shirt that's a penny and a nice pair of jeans. It could be so simple, but because you have style and you accessorize it and put it together so well.
Just because you're wearing something expensive, don't mean it look good.
And it's not always about money. It's about how you put things together. Because like someone could have on Target flip flops, a Louis Vuitton jacket, and make the flip flops look like they are priceless. So like that's one thing I feel like a lot of people get confused about. Like fashion and style is not the same thing.
No. I mean, I'm always into high and low mix. I like I use high-end like jewelry or handbags or shoes, but I rarely buy a really high-end piece of clothes. It's just if they're well-made, good quality, I love it, I will buy it. But it just doesn't really need like you spend like $1,000 one t-shirt. It doesn't. Just for me, I guess I'm not that crazy yet. Someday I may.
You have sense. You have a lot of sense.
Since we will see, this episode coming out in the spring and in April, on April 3rd to be exact. So what do you, Grace, predict is the next spring fashion go-to? Or what do you hope will be in this spring?
Okay, normally for spring, always the pastel colors.
Love pastel.
Pastel,
so
yes.
Pretty.
So usually that is what happened. I think for me, I normally, like I said earlier, I don't really follow trend that much. I will pick and choose here and there a little thing. I don't try like, when you go online, people say this is 20 new trends for 2019 spring, summer, whatever. I will look. I mean, as a fashion blogger, I need to look. But am I going to try all of them? No. I mean, that's why a lot of people say, hey, your style is quite unique. That's because I don't follow others. I do my own thing.
Just so everyone knows, Grace walked in today wearing the best fluffy pink jacket I have ever seen.
She's so
oh,
cute.
My God.
That was the first thing I said. I was like, oh my God, you're so cute.
I love
Thank
it.
you. You get
so
cute too.
much.
Thank you.
So we also, just this in March, your book came out.
Yes.
Tell us about your book.
Thank you. So my book is called From Widow to Boss Lady.
Ooh.
It's a self-empowerment journey. It's a real story about me. It's all the things actually I wrote during the time I went through the grieving process. So everything is very raw and real. That's the part I think I like. I mean, I have read so many articles about how you deal with all the things after you lost loved one. But I couldn't find any book to tell me how a real person been through it.
Right.
So that's the first instinct, like, I probably want to write a book for someone. And again, this is how I been through it. Doesn't mean this is the right way to do, but at least give people a reference. This somebody did it this way.
Right.
For example, when you take off your wedding ring, like when you start to clean up his stuff, when you start dating, whatever the thing. A lot of time people ask and they couldn't find out answer because either they're afraid to ask or they feel like, everybody different. It is true, everybody different, but a reference there, I would kind of give you some bottom line or, some guideline there.
Right.
So that's the first I was thinking about the book. And then later I realized, like I said, I treat this as an opportunity because this great loss made me to who I am today. Make me even stronger, more understand who I am, and make me even quit my teaching job full-time pursuing my blogging career. So that's a lot of things I will not think about I would do before. So this totally because I understand who I am, what I can do, and I understand everybody, doesn't matter what kind of situation you go through, you have the ability to turn it around to do it your way to pursue your dream. So that's the book about, not just for women, not just for someone lost some loved ones, it's for everybody.
Right.
Oh, perfect. Where can we find your book? Is it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble? Where can we find that?
At this point, it should be on Amazon.
On Amazon? All
Yeah.
right. So everyone out there, out in good old podcast land, find From Widow to Boss Lady on Amazon by Grace.
And also, where could people follow you at to see, of course, like your website, your social media handles? Where could people find you at?
Okay, so if you want to read my blog, go to colorandgrace.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, that will be Color and Grace. So it's all the same name.
Okay.
Ah, perfect. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm all about
Totally.
it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Grace,
Thank you for having
gracing
me.
us
Of
with your
course.
presence.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. She came in with the color and grace for sure with the pink jacket.
Truly,
thank
truly.
We love.
you.
Indeed. All right. Thank you so much, Grace, for joining us today. This has been another She Do podcast. I'm Natalie,
And I'm Bria.
and have a fabulous rest of your day with your vision boards. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was a Onenie original podcast.